He cheated during treatment. Now he wants to move back in, and I'm supposed to care for him. For most of our marriage, my husband, 39 male, and I, 37F, had a very happy relationship. We had good jobs, decent money, 2 kids, and loved each other. Then he got diagnosed with a rare form of cancer, and we went through years of painful treatments and recovery together. We moved to a small house to be close to the research center where he underwent treatment. His parents paid half of the down payment on the house, the other half was from our savings and investments. In the divorce, he gave me the house and took all of his medical debt. We have been divorced a year, but now his cancer has come back and he needs treatment again at the same research hospital. He wants to stay in what is now my house while undergoing treatment, and his parents expect me to house him and look after him because he was generous in letting me have the house without taking his rightful share from the equity. When we were married and he was undergoing treatment, it was new stuff that was expensive and also very physically draining on him. We were lucky that both our jobs were supportive and flexible, but with his health issues, little kids, and expenses, we had to downgrade our lifestyle a lot. That plus the physical changes in his body made him very depressed. Whenever he felt a bit better, he'd go stay in his hometown. It's a small town where most of his family and a lot of his childhood friends live. I was doing all the caretaking of him while also dealing with insurance complications. I was also managing the kids, the entire household, and my full-time job. We had help from friends and neighbors, but it was very hard. I wasn't happy about him spending his healthy days away from us, but it was good for his mental health, so I didn't feel like I could object. While he was staying there, he had reconnected with his high school girlfriend. A couple years ago, he admitted to me that he was sleeping with her and I filed for divorce. He had fully recovered from his cancer by then. There are other aspects around the cheating that left me very heartbroken and feeling betrayed. His giving me the house and taking all the debt was an apology of a sort. His parents feel that I owe him for getting the house and should let him stay there for the 2 to 3 months his treatment is at the facility. I do want him to be well, and I don't want my kids to lose a loving father, but I can't deal with having him around me, especially not if I end up being his nurse and caretaker again. I am still very bitter about how our marriage ended. A lot of people close to me are telling me that I should support him for the sake of my kids. Wibda if I say I can't do that. Update 1. The Sunday after I made the post to IDEA, my ex-in-laws picked up the kids for a zoo trip. They sometimes come to pick them up to entertain them, and so I thought nothing of it. A few hours later, a very teary and contrite Mill dropped off 2 bawling kids with me. She told them their dad is sick and will die if he doesn't stay with us and go to the hospital. We hadn't had a talk with the kids yet about the diagnosis, and she dropped it on them that he is dying from cancer. He is not dying, it's a painful treatment, but he'll recover. I was so furious I was raging. I called the ex and tore him a new one. He was shocked too, and we together exploded at his mom. She broke down and cried, begging me to not take away her grandkids from her as if I'd trust her after this. Ex and I together talked to the kids, him on video, and assured them that yes, he is sick, but he'll be fine. He just needs to go to the hospital and I'll make him better like the last time he was sick. The kids settled after that, but my oldest has been at me crying and begging to make dad come live with us. I promised them I'd talk to dad and figure out what's the best thing to do. I swallowed a lot of bile to talk to him about why he was doing this. We had a pretty long and detailed discussion. The bottom line is that he's broke, he still has a decent job, but his credit is ruined. He has a lot of debt, and he's stupidly got the cheapest insurance that barely covers anything. Fiancée is no help either, she's worse off financially. So he needs a place to stay, he can't afford this otherwise. His parents are funding some of his medical payments and are already stretched. He was financially alright when we broke up, so I have no idea what happened in such a short time. Anyway, X and his gaff moved into my daughter's room. My daughter happily gave it up to her dad and is sharing her little brother's room. Both kids are over the moon happy to have their dad in their home. My daughter keeps checking on him every few minutes to make sure he's still okay. Emil traumatized my kid. I'll never forgive that woman for this. I let the gaff move in with him because I was too angry to care about who came to look after him as long as it wasn't me. I didn't know how I could bear having her in my home, but it appears to be more misery for her than me, and that strangely makes it more tolerable for me. She is teary-eyed and crying all the time. It's only been 3 days, but I am so annoyed I want to shake her and tell her to pull it together. The current treatment plan is for 3 months. I am counting down the days. I am thankful for the many people who gave me great advice on my last post. I wasn't expecting things to go this way, but they played me by manipulating my kids. I'll slowly pull myself and the kids away and move, but for now I have to deal with this for my kids' sake. ETA, I was trying to make this update more than a week ago. So to add to that, X's treatment is coming along nicely. The tumors that grew again are much smaller than before, and the new stuff that they are giving him is more directed to so he's not having as many bad symptoms as he had last time. I had promised myself I would do nothing, do help, and I stayed away from both X and his fiancé. But I did end up helping him deal with insurance. His fiancé has the personality of a wet noodle and cries all the time. It was easier for me to do it than deal with her struggling. X is polite enough to me, but his personality has changed. He is a different person and not very nice towards his fiancé. I didn't expect to, but I feel sorry for her. Update 2. My ex and his fiancé moved out today. His treatments went very well this time around. He had to deal with general weakness and nausea, but no vomiting and voiding like the previous time. It's amazing how much medicine improves and changes. He'll need monthly shots for a while, and I agreed to house him for a weekend next month, but after that he's on his own. The stay went well, we had no drama really. I kept myself busy and kids and I traveled a lot. They both managed the rest of the stuff all right and things worked out. And my kids are happy and back to their normal stuff. I had a talk with my daughter about how grandma exaggerated things to get her way, and that is not okay, and she understood. She has shown no interest in visiting her grandparents, and I am happy about that. The last week of his stay, his fiancé went back to their town to take care of some stuff since he was doing pretty well on his own. He and I had a few long, detailed conversations. They were cathartic in some ways and saddening and maddening in others. I think I got some closure, at least I am not feeling the bitterness the way I used to. I may make another post about what he told me, his reasoning and justifications. On another positive note, all that dressing up and going out I've been doing has worked out for me. I met someone. We've been on 2 dates, and it's going great so far. This is my first time dating since the divorce, so I am keeping my expectations muted, but still it is very exciting and fun. Update 3. I tried writing about our conversations, but the process of thinking about it and analyzing it is very depressing. So when we had the talk, I felt much better than I do looking back at it now. Then my new date invited me on a trip during the Memorial Day weekend. One of my close neighbor friend encouraged me to go while she watched my kids. I was pretty excited about this vacation, my first adult-only vacation in over a decade. I didn't want my overthinking about my ex to make me depressed during the trip, so I put that on hold. The trip went well, and I am pretty optimistic about this new relationship. Sorry to you guys for taking so long with this. But now that I feel happier, I can have a more grounded take on my ex's views. To start with, he was again very apologetic about what he put me through and that I deserved better from him. When he was going through his cancer treatment while we were married, I was extra careful with his feelings and being calm and patient with him. So that had become so much of a habit that even when he told me about his affair, I still treated him with kid gloves. I was firm about wanting divorce and refused to consider his insistence on working it out, but I swallowed my anger and didn't go off at him. But this time I got to properly express my hurt and anger at him, and that was very, very cathartic. He took it okay for the most part, but also was stung by it and got defensive. He told me in some detail about how he and his geef got together. She was his high school girlfriend. She came from an abusive background, and in high school he had helped her and did a lot to encourage her to move out of that situation. So when he moved away to go to university, and she stayed their small town, the long-distance thing dissolved their relationship. He wanted a more big city life, and a few years after college he met me. When he was visiting his parents' home more while recovering, he reconnected with her. At that time, she was struggling to leave an abusive relationship. It again was like their high school days, where she was in trouble and T was the knight in shining armor. I suppose that can be very attractive to someone who's been facing weakness and their own mortality. So when he was home, I was waiting on him hand and foot. I didn't even know that he could have enough energy to do all the legwork for this other woman and was spending quite a bit to help her. That's where his currently being broke comes from. She was in financial trouble, and he solved all her problems. He is quite proud of how much he helped her and doesn't agree with me that he took something away from me and making me work for him while he put his energy away from our family. I don't want to say that I don't support helping someone escape abuse, but I can't help feeling exploited. His response was that he did a favor by spending time in his town because that lessened the burdens on me. It is true that when he went away, life got easier by a lot. I had more time, I could focus more on kids, we could cook anything, eat anything. But if he had that kind of energy, then he could have helped me, But he says that I was always stressed out and upset. My attitude was a drain on him. I resent that because I remember how careful I was around him, how much I made myself pliable to be his nurse. He brought up examples of how once I was so upset I went to the balcony to scream. The time I snapped at the kids and then cried about it. He had stories of how I was pushy and difficult. He wasn't making it up, I have my faults, but I did work hard and tried my best. I didn't realize that my help and support wasn't good enough for him. I didn't make him feel good. I just did the shit work. I think he resents me because he feels he owes me. He likes his geef because she owes him and is dependent on him. Update 4. I introduced my beef to my kids this past weekend. We've been spending so much time together and talking almost every day, and I finally felt ready to bring him into their lives. I gave my ex a heads up that I am dating and will ping the guy to our kids. He went very quiet on the phone, then asked details about who he is, etc., and I gave those to him. He tried to dissuade me from letting kids meet my beef, says it's too soon, and it's not healthy for the kids and whatnot. As if I got the choice to make such a call when he got his geff into my kid's life. Anyway, I finished the call annoyed. Last night he calls me back to discuss my BF. Apparently he looked into him, which is fine by me, there's not much for him to criticize there. So he asks me if I am with my BF for money. To say I was furious is an understatement. My BF is in a lucrative career and he may be a couple tax brackets above me. I don't know for sure, haven't talked finances with him. But I do pretty well myself, and I've supported myself and my kids and even my lousy ex, and this is what he asks me. I retorted that no, I am not with him for his money. I am with him because my ex-husband dumped me after exploiting me. He got upset at that and says that I have a barbed tongue and people think I am so nice but don't see how verbally abusive I can be. So that's nice. All I've done for him, and he has no problem being cruel to me again and again. Update 5. My current relationship is going well. We are working on building our blended family. My 2 kids and his son get along really well. They are tight together. We have been thinking of buying a house together and selling mine. I am both excited and nervous about doing that. Ex didn't act up after that last argument. He's been more aloof than before, but that's preferable, so I don't care. Things are well on his side too, as far as I know. Update 6. My BF and I bought a new place together. I've sold the house and I am rather relieved to leave that place. I liked having a home, but there were too many bad memories there and the emotional baggage of my ex-in-laws thinking they still have a claim on the place. I will miss my old neighborhood though. I had a lot of supportive friends there. My kids love the new place. It's bigger, with a bigger yard and nicer schools. As we were clearing out the house, I told my ex to pick up a few of his things still left behind. He had a few boxes of pictures and kids' artwork and some small things, and I left them in the garage for him to come pick them up. He came to get them, ended up full on crying over the memories. We didn't talk or interact in any way. I just gave him water and left him alone to calm down. But honestly, I felt such visceral rage at his crying. I thought I was over this, and past is past, and I am happy with my life now. But at that moment, I felt so much anger, and it upset me that I am still not fully past what he had done. His relationship with his fiancée has ended, and I do feel a bit bad about that. They were supposed to be married in July, and that didn't happen. Then I heard from some mutual friends that she has moved back with her abusive ex. They have kids together, and there was a lot of pressure from her family to reconcile. And yes, her family is abusive too. My ex had helped her against them when they were first dating, and they've always held that against him. So she stayed with ex while he was digging her out of her financial crisis. Now that she's in the clear, she goes back to the guy who put her in that hole. In a way, my ex, and by extension me, helps some deadbeat out there make a lot of savings. In that part, I feel angry on ex's behalf. I mean, I hate him for my own reasons, but he did try to help his old friend and high school sweetheart, and she screwed him over. Now on to the next story. Refused my stepsister's demands to hang out less with my brothers because she felt neglected, and now her friends are attacking me. I, 18F, am the youngest of 4 siblings. I have 3 older brothers, Michael, 28M, John, 27M, Chris, 25M. Our mother passed away when I was 8, and since then, my father, 53M, and my brothers have been quite protective of me. I had father-daughter date nights with my dad and movie nights with my brothers, among other things. I think that was their way of making sure I didn't feel lonely. Last year, my father got married to Melissa, 45F. She, with her daughter Ashley, 18F, moved in with us. So I always got the sense that Ashley didn't like me. She would talk to my dad and my brothers, but she never talked to me. So whenever I tried to talk to her, she would answer curtly and then walk away. I never understood why, or if I did something to her, but after a few weeks of trying to get along with her without success, I gave up. We were civil to each other, and that was enough. My brothers were also on the fence about her. She keeps insisting to be invited to our movie nights, but she would always demand to see a movie she liked even if none of us liked it, and she kept trying to cuddle with my brothers, which they find uncomfortable and weird because they don't really know her. Chris actually told her to knock it off because he didn't like that she was so touchy-with-me. Recently, I had my 18th birthday. It was fun and low-key, and I got wonderful gifts. The next day, Ashley came to me and told me that it was unfair that my brother's gifts to me were better than their gifts to her for her birthday last June. For context, my brothers each gave her a $200 gift card to different stores so she can buy what she liked, because they didn't really know her. So they gave her gifts to be civil. My brothers got me a personalized perfume, a signed copy of an entire book series that I've been obsessed about lately, and a personalized planner with messages and quotes on each page. I will admit that they put more thoughts into my gifts, but I think it's fair since they don't really know her. But then Ashley started crying, saying that I always got everything and she got nothing, and she then demanded I stop hanging out with them and said that if I didn't hang out with my brothers so much, then they would pay more attention to her. She also wanted me to tell them to treat her like they treated me because she was also their sister now. I told her that I won't force my brothers to do something they didn't like. She insisted that I call my brothers right that moment to tell them that I would hang out less with them and that they should get Ashley better gifts. I refused. Apparently, she told her friends and cousins, because I've been getting messages from them telling me I'm a spoiled, selfish kid, so I'm second-guessing so, Ida. I can't reply to all the comments, but I just want to answer some of the questions that I read. The most common one was, where was my dad in all this? Before this incident, I did not tell my dad anything because I believed that there was nothing to tell. Ashley was curt with me, but I didn't expect her to immediately like me, and she did not bully me before this incident, so I just chalked it up to awkwardness since we were basically strangers. I also, as a mini update, I did talk to my dad and brothers. My dad was angry and shocked. My brothers were livid. I told them everything and showed them the screenshots on the messages. My dad hugged me and apologized that I had to go through this. My brothers wanted to come home immediately and confront Ashley, but my dad told them all to calm down. So he said he wanted to talk to Melissa first, and he and Melissa can talk to Ashley tomorrow, but he promised that we will all definitely sit down and talk about this. I have a feeling things are going to get messy when they talk with Ashley tomorrow, so wish me luck. Update 1. Your suggestions and advices are really appreciated. I did post it in the comments, but for those who didn't see it, I did tell my brothers and father about what Ashley did, and my father said he would talk to Melissa first and they would talk to Ashley the next day. The day after I told my dad, we all had a talk. Contrary to what we all thought, Ashley didn't even deny it. She just basically repeated what she told me. She sounds like a broken recording at this point. My dad told her that while he understands that she might feel excluded because my brothers and I were so close, demanding that I spend less time with my brothers and bullying me through her friends and relatives were so wrong. Melissa started talking, apologizing for what Ashley did. She said she knows it was wrong, but she was hoping that we all could forgive her, because she's just having a hard time with the changes in her life. Michael pointed out that they did want a good relationship with her at first, but if this is how she was going to treat me, she could just forget it. All my brothers also opened up about how they were so uncomfortable with her trying to be so touchy with them. My father suggested therapy, but Ashley refused and started screaming. At this point, I think my father had enough and said that she should go to therapy and work out her issues or she wouldn't be living in his house. That shut us all up. Melissa asked my dad if he was serious, and he said yes. He said he loved her and he was concerned about Ashley, but he won't allow his daughter to be bullied in his own house. Ashley looked really shocked. She would be going to a local college and she planned to stay at home so she could save rent, so this must have bothered her a lot. She started blaming me and started to walk towards me and tried to grab me, but all my brothers got between us. John Colby told her that while our father was trying to be kind, that he would do no such thing, and if she touched me, he would throw her in jail faster than she could blink. He's a lawyer, so Ashley knows that this was not an empty threat. She backed off and walked to her room and slammed the door. The next day, Ashley went to therapy. I don't know if Melissa forced her or if she just didn't want to be kicked out, but oh well. At least she's going. She's been ignoring us this past few days, which is completely fine with me. As for my brothers, the day Ashley started therapy, she also started texting them, playing the pity card, but they all blocked her. As for me, I am doing very well. This whole fiasco kind of made us all forget that I'm going away to college in a few days, and now my father and brothers are kind of acting frantic and in mother hand modes, lol. I don't know if this was the update you all expected. This is a very summarized version, and if you have more questions, I'd be happy to answer them in the comments. Update 2. Barely a month ago, I actually made a post here because Ashley was hysterically forcing me to stop hanging out with my brothers because she wanted them to pay more attention to her. She blames me for everything and repeatedly told me that I was preventing her from bonding with my brothers. We all sat down and talked, went to therapy, and I went to college, but I know she still despises me. Now to the current issue. A little bit over a month ago, I turned 18. My maternal grandparents gave me a family heirloom. It was a pair of diamond earrings. It used to belong to my mother, but since she was unable to give it to me, my grandmother held on to it until my 18th birthday. I keep it in a locked drawer in my room. Yesterday, Ashley and Melissa went to a wedding. I knew because Melissa made a Facebook post. I didn't think much of it, but in one of her posts, I saw Ashley wearing a pair of very familiar earrings. I know it's bad to accuse people without proof, but I just immediately knew that those were my earrings. I called my dad and my brothers and informed them and went home. I called Melissa and told her about the situation, but she didn't quite believe me because Ashley had told her that she borrowed the earrings from one of her friends. So when I got home, I saw that the drawer had been busted open and my earrings were gone. I checked the security camera in the hallway. I had one installed because of previous events, and it did show Ashley going into my room and then coming out a few minutes later. I was a bit frantic. My dad called Ashley and demanded that she return my earrings. She denied it at first, but when he told her that we had video footage, she began to get defensive, saying that she just borrowed them and that I wasn't using them anyway. She then blocked my dad and Melissa wasn't answering her phone either. I was debating whether to go to the wedding that instant, when my brothers, who were quite fed up with Ashley at this point, told me that we should go to the police station and file a report for theft. I was quite reluctant at first, but then I remembered that those earrings were something my mother had left for me, and she had taken it without asking permission. We went to the station and filed a report and showed them the security footage. This morning, Ashley was taken to the police station for questioning. Ashley and Melissa are still at the station, and I've been getting calls and texts from her relatives that I was dramatic and that I shamed their family because a lot of the guests who were staying at the hotel saw the police officers. Do you at least have the earrings now? With Ashley's behavior, it's easy to believe those earrings would have ended up missing, and you would have never got them back without involving law enforcement.